Recording. Hello there, it's Helen Pollock from EasyBuild here, and I'm delighted to be joined by Ian Cook, who is Financial Controller of County Contractors today. So Ian, thanks so much for joining me, and I wanted to ask you a few questions about County Contractors and EasyBuild, if that's okay with you.
Of course, that's fine.
Brilliant. So the first question is, what issues led you to look at implementing EasyBuild into your business?
Yes, good question. For us, really, we were having problems with our existing software. I was new to the business, and whilst I was prepared not to rock the boat too much, I couldn't really live with a system that became more unstable, more unreliable. I had a strategic plan that included lots of development, lots of efficiency enhancements and that sort of thing, which I kind of knew in the back of my mind that our existing software wouldn't be able to handle. But the decision to change was really pushed on by the fact that it was getting worse. So we looked at what we needed from a system, and then we went out to market. And it became very clear that our existing system was built on dated architecture, which was part of the root of the problem, that it was just too old and just wasn't able to do what a modern business needed.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that, Ian, because we do hear that quite often, that companies find themselves struggling to make legacy systems do things that they were never designed to do.
Yeah.
And often that's why people come to EasyBuild. So in terms of the implementation, how did that process go from the planning phase right through to aftercare?
Yeah, that was an interesting process. I think changing any major system, bearing in mind the finance system, not just from a finance point of view, but from a business point of view, it's the core of the business. You know, a lot of information flows through the system. A lot of people get access to the system. So there's a lot of stakeholders involved in keeping happy, if you like, in the process. From the perspective of how we worked with EasyBuild and how they worked with us, that went very well. I would say that actually the team, or some of the people in the team, changed during the time that we were implementing it. So the consultant at the beginning, for example, wasn't the same one that we had at the end. But what we found with that actually was we didn't have a problem. We didn't have a new person that didn't know what they were doing. We had somebody else who did know what they were doing, but brought a different set of skills. So we were able to push it on in ways that we hadn't thought we would initially. So really, the fact that personnel changed really wasn't a problem for us at all. And what we had throughout was really, really great service.
Brilliant. Well, that leads on really nicely to my next question, which is, it's now been 3 years that County Contractors have been using EasyBuild. So you're a long-standing customer. So how do you feel? How do you feel about that now after 3 years?
Yeah, I think we're starting to get to grips with the system. No, I'm joking. It's really easy to use. The thing that I like about the journey, and I look back on it, and I think back to the things that perhaps it didn't do on day one, that we've said to them, oh, it'd be really good if it could do this. And they've gone, oh, actually, yeah, that's a good idea. And so we've seen enhancements and developments in the system continuously in the 3-year process. Not all of it is stuff that we've asked for either. Things that other customers have asked for that have popped up, and we thought, that's great. So we're seeing this constant improvement, continuous improvement of the system, which for us, and for me especially, was really, really important. We needed that, to know that as our business develops, then the system will develop with it. And there's some things that we've had to ask for that have been bespoke, and we've had to pay for them. That's fine. They're really geared towards our business. But there have been a lot of things that the user base as a whole has benefited from, that EasyBuild are very happy to consider and implement those changes.
Yeah, it's interesting how often we hear that as well, that our development team get a lot of kudos because they're always willing to listen and add functionality that might help others in the user base, as you say. So that's really good to hear. So we've talked about how when you started your implementation process, the consultant in charge wasn't necessarily the same consultant as the person working with you at the end of the process. But how would you describe your relationship with the EasyBuild team in general?
I would describe it as a personal relationship. And again, that to me, that's key. I think that you need to know who you're dealing with. So from everybody in the team that I've met and I've got to know, from frontline support up to the CEO, you know, I can put faces to a number of names, which means that when I phone them or I email them, then I know who I'm dealing with, and they know me, and they know our business. They know the sort of pressures that we're under, and they respond accordingly. And I think for us especially, that makes for a very good working relationship.
Great, that's brilliant. So I know that implementing a new software system can be a bit of a traumatic process, but how have your colleagues reacted to EasyBuild software?
Well, I think it's fair to say that nobody likes change. The only person that likes change is the person that's implementing the change. And in this case, that was me. So I loved it. I thought it was great. Now, my team had a bigger challenge to get over the fact that we were changing a software they've been using for years and years. All of their processes were driven around this software. So it wasn't just taking something out and putting something new in. It was everything around it had to change. So for people that have to have that level of change thrust upon them, there's going to be some kickback, some inevitable pushback. But to be honest, I got less than I expected. I got more buy-in from people that could really see the benefits of it. And the pushbacks and the problems were very short-lived. Once they started using the system, they could see the real benefits of it. Now, if I tried taking some of those things away from them now, they would be screaming at me because they love them and they've really got used to them, and they're a key part of their work now.
Brilliant. So that's something we've also heard from other customers, that you can see the benefits from day one. And so, you know, any discomfort there might be in the implementation process, it's very clear why it's been done very soon. So that's great. So why would you recommend EasyBuild to industry colleagues?
I think really the answer to this just sums up everything I've already said. They're a great company to work with, and they do work with their customers. They're not a software house that says, well, this is our software, take it or leave it. They're really interested in actually, well, how can our software help your business? And I think that level of approach is perhaps quite rare in the industry. So if you're the sort of business that's looking for that sort of approach, then EasyBuild is probably the software for you. It is perhaps a little smaller than some of the other softwares, which means that there is a more personal approach. But that's not to say that it's not a very solid system that works. Just to give you an example, there is a function in there that lets you unlock a batch that's crashed midway through, but I've never had to use it. I don't know what it does. So there's that is an example of how reliable the system is, and that's one of the main reasons I think people should consider looking at EasyBuild.
Great, thank you. So in terms of County Contractors and EasyBuild, what does the future hold?
Well, that's a good question in these current times. What does the future hold? I think, really, joking aside, what we're seeing is this working from home scenario that's been thrust upon all of us, which is why we're doing this over Zoom today. There's some real benefits to businesses in adopting more of that when we get back to normal life. So I think really the answer to that lies in remote working, mobile, a lot more access to the data remotely, rather than just relying on the data being on premises and the individuals being on premises. So for us, for example, approving invoices and other items through workflow remotely on tablets or laptops or mobile phones would be a real benefit, and that's something that I'm working with EasyBuild on at the moment to develop.
Great. Well, it sounds like the future looks bright then for County Contractors and EasyBuild.
Hopefully.
So thank you so much for your time, Ian. I really appreciate it, and hope to speak to you again soon.
Thank you. You're welcome.